I hope you don't mind I'm doing today's video a little shorter than normal. Today is my birthday, or yesterday if you're watching this on Sunday. So I have a few things to do, but I didn't want to leave you hanging without a video. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? This is the 75-gallon SPS tank. I did a few things in here. I don't know if you've seen my shorts video. I took out the bird's nest colony that was back there. It was filling in all of that and kind of encroaching on my acropora there, my green slimer, so it had to go. I have it in another tank right now. I'll show you that in a little bit, but if you haven't watched that shorts video, I'll put it up right here. Things are going pretty good in here, except for this colony right here is dying out, but I think that's because it's getting beat up here by the Leptocerus in Pavona. So that's supposed to be a Jedi mind trick Montipora colony. As you can see, it ain't doing so well now, but that's okay. I do have extra of that in the frag tank, and I can always put some back in if I want. But for now, I'll just let it be. This Bacillopora here is growing out. I'm going to take that down too before it starts stinging the green slimer. As you can see, it's already getting close right there. So I'm going to trim that back pretty soon. I've just been keeping up on checking my water parameters and doing water changes as necessary. I now have an algae scrubber on this tank, so the nitrate has been actually pretty stable. The nitrate hasn't changed. It's been around 9 to 10, so I'm going to leave it at that. And that's running the algae reactor, basically 24/7 with the lights on all the time, but it does a trick, so I'm going to leave it alone. This right here is a frag that I had in the frag tank. I decided to put it in here where this old Bacillopora colony was. That is, my fish will get out of the way. That is an Acropora efflorescens. I got that from Battle Corals a while ago, so I figured I'd put that front and center in the tank. You can check that out. Hopefully that'll grow out nice and color up a little better in here. But that has a really unique growth pattern. It's more like a chunky plate. It doesn't really grow long branches, so that'll be something really cool to check out. I've just been trying to get rid of some of the detritus down here. As you can see, it builds up at the bottom. And I just do a little siphoning, get some of that out and replenish it as necessary. Check out my urchin. He just likes to grab everything and wear all the snails as hats. And then he drops all the snails into the coral, and then the coral grow over the snails, but I don't get to them. Like there's one right there, if you can see that. So I got to be a little more diligent of saving my snails because the urchins grab them. So the rest of the tank's doing pretty good. As you can see, the Montipora digitata there is still breaching the water. And we'll have a look at the top down here real quick, but things are starting to stabilize because I lowered the nitrates from around 25 to around 9 or 10, like I said. So, and I just blew out the rocks, so these Leptocerus here aren't as colorful as they usually are, these 24K. But everything's doing pretty good in this tank, other than this one colony over here. But like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I'll just let things go and just keep up on my water changes and making sure I'm paying attention. And the fish are doing good too, as you can see. There's a purple tang in there just swimming around, and there's my clownfish, the sergeant major damselfish, and I have a few other damselfish in here as well as this cardinal fish right here. So let's have a look at the top down. All right, here's the top down view of the tank. I'm getting some Biropsis growing in here. I don't know if you can see it. I've been just kind of pulling it out. It's not really invasive or anything. It's not really, going around the whole tank. Just a little bit where there's not so much flow in between those two coral where they're duking it out. So I just kind of pluck it out. And I got some back there too on my weir. So I got to make sure my weir stays cleaned out so the tank doesn't overflow, obviously. But other than that, up top here, there's not too many problems. This Acropora here is growing on the glass. See that? Check that out. I might add some more light on it because it's supposed to be like a purple color. This one over here is the exact same coral. As you can see, it's a little more purple because it's getting a little more light right there. There's the Walt Disney colony. It's kind of greened out right now until the violets kick in, and then you can see all the different colors. But the color on this one does change depending on the nutrient levels and the flow and the par. So I just leave it be. When I make adjustments, I keep an eye on it. But it's been doing pretty good. So I'm not really too concerned about trying to make it look a certain way or anything. I enjoy it. It's my favorite coral, and I rarely frag it, though I just did recently. So I'll show you that in a little bit too. This pink Floyd back here is doing pretty good. This is one of my older corals too. I've had this. This might be one of the original ones I've had in here for like 4 or 5 years. It's not a super fast grower for me, but it's doing pretty good. Got some nice yellow to it. And there's where I took down that bird's nest again. There's a little bit of some right there. I got to cut that back. And I have some more urchins. I have about 6 urchins in this tank now. I put them in other tanks, and they mess with my frags. They get too big, so I put them in this tank, and eventually I got to rehome them. The Slimer's doing good. That's nice and full. Polyps are out. So up top's one of my favorite views. Just looking down the tank. It's just something I do to, make sure that there's nothing behind the scenes, because it's really easy to miss something if you're just looking at the front of the tank. So I turn off the flow every once in a while and just see what's going on. So that is the 75-gallon SPS tank. All right, Puffy and the boys are doing pretty good here in their 135-gallon fowler tank. I feed these guys every other day. I feed them a lot of food when I feed them. They got squid and clams and shrimp and all kinds of big, chunky, meaty foods. I just buy it from the grocery store and cut it up myself and feed it to them, so they enjoy that. And they have some pellets for the smaller fish. There's Finn, thinks he's the boss of the tank. And Leonidas, who's the big fish of the tank. He's about 11 inches long. It's a really nice fish. All these fish are, it was supposed to be a predator tank, but really all these fish are pretty nice. They all get along for the most part, as much as fish can. They still, like Finn will just grunt at them every once in a while, but they don't really bother each other too much. So I really enjoy these guys. These are my pets. And somewhere I'm missing a fish. I got to find him. I'm missing that burrfish. He's in here somewhere because I just seen him a little bit ago. Let's see where he's hiding. Aha, I found him. He was in the back. So there's the burrfish. He's getting pretty big too. He's actually a little bit longer than Puffy, I think. But I enjoy that fish too. He's really cool looking. And he is a piggy. He likes to eat a lot. So these guys are doing good. I've just been doing water changes just to kind of help with the algae. As you can see, I still have a ton on the back glass. I'm going to scrape this off tomorrow, and it'll grow back. And when I scrape it off, the fish eat some of it too. But I just basically leave it on there for them to have something to graze on, because they clean these rocks up pretty good too. So that is the 135-gallon fowler tank. And here's my little 45-gallon SPS tank. It's kind of acro heavy right now. Acropora, one of my favorite coral. There is a new development though. This coral right here in the center of my fish, will get out of the way. In the center of your screen here, that coral seemingly died a year, 2 years ago. This was just stunted. This was the only piece left. And the polyps finally started to come out on it, and I was really happy about it. That's basically a Jason Fox solar flare or a sunset acropora, and I really enjoy it. It was my favorite coral. It was my centerpiece of the 75-gallon SPS tank, and the colony all but died except for this little piece here. And I'm so thrilled that it's finally coming back. Look at them polyps. So that makes me super happy. I got another one right here that I got from somebody, but it's not the same colony, but it's doing okay. But I'm just happy that the original one is coming back. So, a year and a half, 2 years later. So hopefully it'll grow out, and maybe I can put it back in the other tank. We'll see. All the other acros, it's kind of hit and miss in here. I had a few die off on me. It just depends on where they come from and what the parameters are compared to what I have, and if I'm keeping up on my water changes and that. But there is that frag of the Disney. If I can, sorry about that. Find a clean spot in the glass to show you. I finally fragged it. I fragged it for a buddy, and then a whole big chunk fell off too. So I put it in here, and I'll just grow that out, even though that takes forever to grow. At least I'll have some in my frag tank in case, knock on wood, something happens with the colony in my 75-gallon SPS tank as well. The rest of these are doing pretty good. I fragged the top off of this a while ago, and it's finally getting nubs on it. I didn't really know what it was, but it's definitely an acropora. So there's some more back there. So things are going pretty good in here. It's pretty similar parameters to the big SPS tank or the 75 gallon. So I've just been, and it's a separate system, so it's kind of hard to do two different separate systems and have around the same parameters, but so far not too bad. That's Nemo Junior's Elegance Coral. This used to have LPS in here, and I have a clownfish in all the other tanks, so I can't put Nemo Junior with his Elegance in the other tank that has LPS, so that stays in here for now. He really enjoys it. It's like his little anemone, but look at that, that's pretty cool. So I really enjoy that too, and I just like collecting all these coral and growing them out and sharing them with other people. And that's my little 45 gallon SPS tank. All right, and here's my 50 gallon LPS tank. Honestly, this tank's doing much better than I thought it would ever do. LPS used to be a weakness of mine. I am dosing all for Reef in this tank, and I'm watching. I gotta recheck my ALP, but I am watching it a little more closely than I used to, and I'm real happy with the results. I don't know what to attribute it to, but whatever's going on, I like it. I can finally keep torches real good, knock on wood. Look at that, look at that Galaxia back there, just like, hello. See that? I got all that room around it because they will sting anything that they can with those long stingers there, those sweepers. So, but these torches are doing awesome, and this frog spawn, and just really everything in here is doing great, and I'm really happy about that. Especially, look at these Gonies, Goniopora. Those guys are looking awesome too, and I never used to be able to keep Goniopora, and I've had these for almost a year now. I've had this rainbow looking one, I guess you could say, the teal and purple one. So I must be doing something right now, and you know, I'm real happy about the results. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I do have some Zoas in here because I was having an issue with Zoas, and for some reason these particular ones like this tank better than my Zoa tank. So for now they're still in here, but all the colors are coming back, even on this chalice back here, that Raja Rampage. I got some Dragon's Breath macro algae in there, so I'm real happy with how this tank's coming along, and you know, knock on wood, it'll just keep going the way it is. And also I 3D printed a little glass cleaner right here, sort of like the mag float, but it doesn't float on the other end just yet. But I made this on my 3D printer. It was pretty neat. So I can just, it's a little bit weaker than I want it to. I'm going to beef it up with some extra magnets, but this was like my first try with it. So real happy about that. Now I don't have to buy them. I can just make them. But honestly, the magnets are pretty expensive. So, you know, it's a little bit cheaper, but not too much. That is the 50 gallon LPS tank. All right, and here's my 50 gallon softy tank. As you can see, I got a big old toadstool right there. It's like I want to frag it, but I don't want to frag it. So for now, I enjoy it so much, I'm going to leave it. But it's about a foot in diameter with everything fully open like that. So it's it wasn't that big when I got it, obviously. It was a little frag, but that's doing pretty good. There's my little fox face there. He helps me out with some algae in here. There's the green Nepthia growing out. That was from my 36 gallon bow front that I took down last year. And there's some shrooms right there. They're doing pretty good. And this bounce shroom's doing good. The sun-kissed bounce, and then these elephant ear. I guess what they're called. What they're called is elephant ear shrooms. The zoas are doing pretty good. As you can see, I got a nem who's barely poking out. He's a lot bigger than that, but he attached to the bottom of this frag right here, and I was trying to get the frags away from it so it wouldn't sting them, and then it just kind of, you know, shriveled up because I was bothering it, and I was like, why can't I pull this frag out? I was like, oh, he's attached. So he claimed that one right there, right next to Nemo, so I'll have to wait till he moves. But he's been kind of poking up in each one of these little holes, and then it'll open up fully. But it does get, I don't know, 2 or 3 times the size of that. But that's my first nem in a long time, and I've had it for about a month or so now, and it's doing pretty good. I just feed it little small fish pellets every once in a while, or some mysis, and it's doing pretty good. All the other zoas in here are perking up, so I may move everything back into this one tank. I got to clean up the frag rack a little bit, obviously. There's not a ton of flow in here, so that's why it looks like that, but not a big deal. I just worry more about the coral and not the rack. Every once in a while I will take the rack off and let it dry out and then clean it, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Everything's doing pretty good. Oh, and before I forget, there's that bird's nest I took out of the 75-gallon SPS tank. So there's a whole bunch. I got one big piece out, actually about one and a half big pieces out. And, you know, I just put it all in here because I don't know what to do with it, honestly. My LFS don't need it, and nobody really wants it, but I don't want to throw it away. So it goes in here, and it actually does all right in here. So I'll see what I can do with it. I do not ship coral, sorry, but I'll find somewhere local, you know, find a new home for it. So that is the 50-gallon softy frag tank, and I'm Reefer Matt. Thank you for watching, and happy reefing.